On September 5th, the Trump administration announced its repeal of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program known as DACA. And as a result, hundreds of thousands of immigrants who came to the United States as children, toddlers, and infants, known as dreamers, faced losing their right to stay here without being subject to deportation and their right to legally work in America. DACA provides temporary legal status to dreamers if they register with the government, pay a substantial fee, go through a criminal background check, and return every 2 years for renewal. It's been a great success. More than 800,000 dreamers have come forward and received DACA protection. When President Trump repealed DACA 7 months ago, he set an arbitrary March 5th deadline of this year for Congress to act and replaced it. We tried. We offered to this president 6 different bipartisan alternatives to continue the DACA program. He rejected every single one of them. He sent to Congress his own plan for dealing with immigration. It received 39 votes in the United States Senate. 39. Remember, there's a Republican majority of 51. The president struggled to get his own party to support his ideas on immigration. Luckily, a federal court stepped in, issued an order blocking President Trump's repeal of DACA. This means that those dreamers who have DACA can continue to apply for renewed status. And I certainly urge every DACA recipient to file for renewal as quickly as possible. There was a ruling yesterday as well in one of the D.C. district courts that also said that perhaps the president's actions on DACA can be questioned, and he gave the government 90 days to produce evidence of what authority the president used to reach that conclusion. The Trump administration is doing everything in its power to fight this injunction, and it could be lifted any day. We don't know when the courts will turn and make a decision. This means there is still an urgent need for Congress to act to overcome the decision of the President of the United States of last September 5th. Last week, the Department of Homeland Security released updated statistics on DACA, and it shows as of March 31st, more than 32,000 DACA renewal applications are pending. Of these pending renewal applications, more than 9,000 were from recipients whose DACA protection had already expired, and tens of thousands more dreamers have DACA protection due to expire very soon. The president has created chaos, not just in the White House, but clearly at the Department of Homeland Security, as they try to respond to his decisions. Secretary Nielsen of DHS has promised me and said publicly she will not be party to deporting any DACA recipient with a pending DACA application, even if their DACA status has expired. We will hold her to that commitment. However, for DACA recipients whose status has expired, they're not going to be given any work permits while their renewal applications are being considered. It means tens of thousands of DACA-eligible individuals could be forced to leave the jobs they have, such as teachers in our school or even in our military, because of the chaos that's been created by this President Trump decision. And consider the fate of dreamers who are eligible for DACA but never quite reach that status. Until this decision is made in the court here in the District of Columbia, they still can no longer apply for DACA protection because of President Trump's decision to prohibit new applications after September 5th of last year. The Nonpartisan Migration Policy Institute estimates that in addition to 800,000 DACA recipients, there are an additional 1 million dreamers who are eligible for DACA. President Trump's cruel decision to end DACA means that some million DACA-eligible people cannot even apply. On September 5th, President Trump called on Congress to legalize DACA, but as I mentioned, he's refused to accept 6 different bipartisan approaches that would. He even rejected one approach that offered $25 billion for his infamous wall on the Mexican border. Instead, the president has tried to put the entire hardline immigration agenda on the backs of DACA recipients. It's not working, Mr. President. 85% of the American people are on the sides of these young people who were brought to the United States as kids, children, infants, who grew up in this country pledging allegiance to that flag and want to be part of our future. 85% of Americans, including many Trump voters, believe that is the right and fair thing to do. But a handful of hardliners in this administration are determined to exact a punishment on these young people and their parents, and that's why we find ourselves in this situation today. I come to the floor more than 100 times to tell the stories, the individual stories of these dreamers, and today I do that as well. This is Karina Macias. She's the 114th dreamer whose story I've told on the floor. At the age of 3, her family brought her to the United States from Mexico. She grew up in East Palo Alto in Northern California. She loved to read, spent her after-school time and summers at the local Boys and Girls Club. Karina was an excellent student, received numerous awards in high school, including the Mount Holyoke Book Award, the AP Scholar Award, and a Rotary Club Academic Achievement Award. She was co-editor of a yearbook and co-president of the Community Service Club. She volunteered as a tutor and worked as a volunteer at food distribution centers. She attended St. Mary's College of California, where she continued to excel academically and received many awards. In May 2016, she was awarded a bachelor's degree in communications. Today, she works as a project manager at a biotechnology firm. She volunteers with the Peninsula College Fund, where she organizes career development and college success workshops. And she tutors elementary students and mentors middle school youth competing in local science competitions. What is her dream for the future? She wants to pursue an advanced degree to become a biotechnology researcher. And here's what she wrote in a letter to me. DACA is my hope for a future in which, with hard work and perseverance, I can achieve any dream imaginable. It's my protection from being ripped away from the only place I've known as home. It's the promise to my baby brothers, who are both U.S. citizens, that I'll be around to watch them mature into exceptional young men. It's the ticket that allows me to be a contributing member of society. I credit my success to the endless support I've received from so many sources. I want to give back to my fellow Americans so that they have the opportunity to achieve their dreams. What a tragedy it would be to deport this young woman. Why would America do that? What sin has she committed? What crime is she guilty of? Who will feel so good to see her leave America? Certainly not the many people that she currently works with and serves and part of her community. That's what we face because of President Trump's decision ending DACA. That's what hundreds of thousands of young people, just like Karina, face every single day because of this president's personal unilateral decision. President Trump created the DACA crisis we face today. Instead of working toward a solution, a few hardliners around him have sabotaged every effort to help the dreamers. In fact, the president quickly adds, don't use the word dreamer. He doesn't like that word. That's why I've used it so often today. I introduced that DREAM Act 17 years ago, and I'm glad it's become common parlance in America to refer to the plight of these young people. Congress needs to do its job, but most importantly, the president needs to do his. If he truly wants to lead this nation and bring us together, if he wants to stand for fairness and justice and an opportunity for young people who want to make America better, then this president has to step up and admit the problem that he created on September 5th of last year can only be solved if he stands up and shows the courage and determination to find a solution. Mr. President, I yield the floor.